Terry. No Terry's.
Teresa. Okay, no, I'm just asking.
Catch up.
Yeah.
Oh, the password
Yeah.
changed. I gotta get my phone to tell you.
Shut everything off until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just catching up.
You need
I
pot
regret that
roasted.
decision.
Hey, you did? No complaints on the pot roast?
Puts me,
Not really.
puts me in no beverages that has it.
Yep.
Something on the pond road.
Anyone have access? Can you see if we're in the live here?
Just making sure that we own the road, we own the work on the road. You know what I mean? It's your pot.
Say,
It's not loading.
Take public administration classes now too.
Yeah.
I have to get back into it at some point. I'm not prepared.
Yeah. I don't know what you get yourself into. And then Paul was the old guy at the table. He knows everything.
I'm already bald, so I got
Changes.
right start, right there.
You said we power off my phone.
right, we're live here.
Okay, have a motion to open the meeting.
Motion to open the meeting.
Seconded.
Second.
All in favor? All rise. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks everybody for coming. So, Miss Hartford, roll call.
Here.
Mr. Russell,
Here.
Mr. Church,
Here.
and Mr. Phillip,
Here.
and Mr. Barnett here, all here. Okay, and this is the first order would be, I'd like to thank everybody that ran, and, everybody, Mr. Church, Miss Hartford, Mr. Philbrook for getting the votes to get in. And I'd like to thank Mr. Dupree, Miss Carlton, Mr. Salvatore, Mr. Roberts for putting in two. And then on the budget committee, Miss Church is in and Mrs. Nice, or Nice, I'm not quite sure. And then thanks to Mr. White for running. And, okay, so I guess the first order of business is we're gonna elect a chair. So do I hear any?
I nominate Chuck Russell.
Seconded? I'll second that. Discussion? Any discussions? All in favor? Mr. Russell, you are the chair,
Thank you.
and I'm gonna hand this over to you to commit. You will be starting the meeting. Thank you.
I think we need to appoint a vice chair. Any nominations?
I nominate Paul Philbrick.
I'll second that. All in favor?
You accept that?
Welcome, everybody. Congratulations, Teresa, Bill. Look forward to working with everybody. Guess we're gonna go over a review of the vote. I don't know if we wanna go over every question, or think we should go over every question, Paul, or?
I was thinking the ones that just didn't pass, just so everybody knows where we stand.
Okay, alright, sounds good.
1 and 2 are citizen petitions, so you don't have to address those.
Alright,
12 is the next one. Oops.
12 passed.
1 and 2 is all set, 26.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
26.
Scared me for a second, Paul.
Yeah.
Um, 26 was for the extra staffing at the fire department out of the general fund, and it reads, in the event town 11 votes to approve either referendum 1 or 16 for the operation, upkeep, pay, and benefits, and the purchase of equipment to the Lebanon Fire and EMS Department, shall the town 11 vote to appropriate the additional sum of $346,916 from the unassigned fund balance for an increase to staffing, including a full-time position with insurance and associated operational costs for Lebanon Fire and EMS Department. Total sum increases staffing model from 2-3 personnel during the day, up to 4 personnel and 2 personnel at night, up to 3 personnel. And that did not pass. Any discussion on that?
What's our plans with that, Joe? What are we gonna,
3 during the day and 2 at night.
say that again?
3 during the day and 2 at night.
The same model you've been running?
With an option to flip the 3rd to a night shift if we have to. Just wanna make a note that that is understaffing us to answer those basic calls at night. And our busiest time is usually during the day, so.
Is that gonna be any on-call person?
No, there's no on call. It'll just be whatever call company personnel happen to be in the area that can respond at that time.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, discussion on that? No?
Question, when is your busiest time? You said during the day?
It depends on the day. I can look at it and find out. The days vary.
Okay.
Usually, the busiest day during the week when I last looked was Thursdays from 11 to 3.
Well, at least you got an idea.
Yeah,
That's payday.
yeah, go figure.
The next one that got passed was the Text My Gov, appropriate the sum of $8,250, sorry, from the unassigned fund balance for Text My Gov website program
You're gonna wanna see this.
to open the lines of communication with local government agencies and citizens. That did not pass. Any comments or questions on that?
Which we didn't think it would. But it's like anything. I think it would have been good communication out there for people.
Yeah. It's actually not a website program, it's a phone program.
Say that again, Lynn?
It's a phone program, not a website program.
Right, yeah, it would have been more, you would have got the information quicker, and you could have got it if you had a phone. Pretty much everybody does have a phone. But
Do we have control of that Facebook group? Is there any way we could start running that again?
Shelley was the last one to have that
Yeah,
information, so we need to get it from her.
and I don't wanna run
the town workers don't wanna run it.
Yeah, no,
So it's,
it. The board has done it before.
Yeah.
I think that's a situation.
And I also was looking and I saw a lot of people were talking about maybe doing a quarterly mailer. We used to do a newsletter back in the day, and they used to leave it at like hometown and like other businesses
Yeah, they
that people
stopped
could
that a
grab.
few years ago.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
they
they
can get
just-
most of the information from our town website.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, it's all usually on there.
How does everyone feel about the Facebook thing? Do you think we should have a Facebook page that we run?
I don't do Facebook, so it doesn't matter to me.
Smart.
I mean, if I don't have a problem
I think
myself
if you
with
download it on your phone.
Right.
it's
Putting
not-
information-
that's how they do it.
putting information out there for people on it. I mean, does anyone else have a problem with?
And
I have no problem with it.
I wouldn't
I'm
post
alright
any,
with it.
well, if I could run it, if that's okay, but I wouldn't post anything without the board's approval anyways.
I think just reposting stuff from the town website wouldn't need approval. It was just
Okay.
thanks to that. I think that'd be fine. So you wanna reach out to Shelley and
Okay,
get the password. Michael might still have it. I'm not sure.
Or you can just start your own.
Yeah, you could start your own.
okay.
Let's see. That's it on the text my gov. Does anyone think we should look into any of the free text?
I think, so. I mean, if there's something out there, I think if it goes over the phone waves, I think it would be a lot better.
I mean, we could use our, what's it called, the rave, for non-emergency communication, but it's specific. We can use it for what we need to if you wanted to.
Is it just for fire department? It could be for, like, if Zach has a problem with the road?
Yeah, it could be town, it's just town information.
And it's phone, right?
Yeah, it's
Cause
phone,
that's the problem with the older.
it's phone, email, and it does
demographic.
reverse 911. So if there's any messages we need to get out, it'll reverse 911 call landlines. And so,
That's the problem we have is the older population, they don't do the internet and stuff like that, they don't
Right.
have computers, but they all do have a phone,
Mhm.
which is.
Yeah, so I think it would be especially
I
if
can
it's
certainly
free.
look into it and find out.
The
if
rave?
we can- Yeah, the rave alert system.
Can always post a letter at when they come in to pay taxes or what have you, so that you can.
You want a
No,
stack of
I-
handouts? Yeah,
Yep.
100%. Do you wanna look into that too, Teresa?
Which one?
The rate?
Free? Okay.
Joe said he was done.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
our,
well,
that's our,
submit-
it's our program.
Yeah, it's their
Okay.
program, so he'll
Okay.
hand you some information if you guys wanna
Yeah.
hook up.
Do that.
Alright, the next one that didn't pass was
33.
Yeah, that's it.
the fire station. The town will authorize the select board to design, construct, and equip a new fire station, including the acquisition of a 4-acre parcel of land for the fire station at 631 Carl Brody Highway, with a total cost not to exceed $7.5 million, to expend up to $1 million from town's general fund to pay for costs, and issue up to $6.5 million in general obligation bonds or notes, which may be callable, which may be made callable in the name of the town to pay projects costs, and authorize the treasurer and select board to determine the dates, maturities, and interest rates and other details of the bonds and notes. So that's something we gotta tackle is going forward, is the fire stations, and what approach we're gonna use to make it usable for our first responders,
Yeah.
including the decontamination setup that Joe talked about, with the extra sink.
An extra room with a shower and a sink and a floor drain would be nice.
So, of course, we had some discussions, everybody's talking about it, so next Monday, cause that would be out there, because where it's gonna be the whole board there, it's gonna be a meeting, if you can make it Monday.
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
If we could do something with that, cause we're gonna have to post it as a meeting, cause there's gonna be 5 of us walking through both stations. Okay,
BLS is gonna be there Tuesday,
who's that?
Safety Works.
Tuesday? Okay, so we're there Monday, we're here Tuesday.
What time are they
I can
coming
do
Tuesday?
Monday.
10 a.m.
I
It's a
can do
courtesy
Monday.
inspection.
You can't do Monday?
No,
What about Tuesday before meeting?
I can do that.
It's 5 of us, I mean, so it's our discussion. I'd rather have all 5 there than
What,
trying to.
5:15, 5:30?
We can do 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. 4:30 works?
4:30.
Like your time, I know you,
I'll make it work.
oh no, but I mean,
Yep.
so if it's 5 o'clock, I know maybe you had traffic and everything. And then you, Teresa, mostly at anything after 4?
Oh, I'm off on Tuesdays.
Oh no, but I mean, it's your regular time. Do you-
3.
3? Okay. Then I know,
5 work
for me,
Tuesday?
yeah.
Does that work for everybody?
So what
Tuesday,
time are we
fine.
meeting Tuesday?
Yeah, what time does safety works on?
10 a.m.
Okay, so then we'll have some, probably some talk about that too, with that.
Probably, and there's still a lot of stuff to be done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Who's
And-
safety work?
Bureau of Labor Standards, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, just so you're aware, when speaking with the fire marshal's office, we were required to file for permits for the single wide and for any work done in Station 1, so I have to go and file 2 permits with them. Because they're quote unquote Title II buildings, which require permits through the fire marshal's office. So, and then anything going forward, anything that's greater than 50,000 requires a complete plan designed by architects and then approval through the fire marshal's office as well.
Why 50,000?
That's their cutoff. That's their rule.
Okay.
So I plan on having them down at some point too to do a walkthrough. Because I'm sure that when we file a permit for work that's already been done, they're gonna wanna come down and look.
To file a permit through, I
The
know,
fire marshal's office.
the fire mark, because we
Correct.
filed a permit through Rod.
We have to file one through the fire marshal's office
Okay,
because of the use of the building.
did you get that?
Alright, so I guess we'll address that.
Oh, on Tuesday, is there any way that Rod could also be there too to do the walkthrough with us? And is Chief gonna be able to be there too?
I'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be there. Rod can do it.
I'll ask for it.
Yeah.
Tuesdays are easier for me anyway.
Everybody good on that one?
Just, am I open, can I say?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, discussing that question about the fire station. I've heard a bunch of different things between why it failed, why it didn't go, why the land being tied to it was a concern. I just think it's prudent to mention the fact that the town has invested already $100,000 into that project, in one way, shape, or form. And then going forward, it's not gonna go away. It's still a need, whether we decide to rebuild both stations. I mean, that's another undertaking in and of itself, right? Which will probably cost more in my anticipation of what it's gonna cost, cause you have to mitigate everything and redo everything to make it code compliant. So I just feel like it's worth saying and mentioning that we will work with whatever the town wants to do, however they wanna do it, to provide the best service possible.
And Chief, have you ever heard of prefab fire stations?
I've seen them, they're not cheap.
Okay.
Cambridge had one installed and it was big money, but it was temporary.
Okay.
But you could do prefab metal, which was less than conventional construction, but your time frame, your longevity of the building is less. And Andy already addressed this too, it's less energy efficient
Yeah.
over time. So,
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So this is a little random,
it's
but I
fine.
was going through this study
Mhm.
and it made a motion, the York County Emergency Management Agency Office of Fire and EMS Assistance provided a written report to Lebanon Board of Selectmen following an assessment of the Fire EMS Department operations.
Yep.
Do you have that?
it's
The Hooper report?
the Hooper report.
Yeah.
Oh, could I get a copy
You
of
guys
that?
have it somewhere, I think it's posted online.
Okay, cool.
And that was back in 2018,
Been a while.
2019?
Been a while.
19, I think.
Pre-COVID, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty.
So our ISO rating was a 5.5Y, when it was last performed. Because we've lost apparatus and we've lost a station, and a lot of the stuff we've implemented, because we've implemented things and done extra work, we maintained the 5.5Y score. We didn't increase our score, so there's no negative effect, we stayed the same,
Nice.
which is good.
Yes, very good. Thank you for that. Anything
2020.
else, Bill?
No, I'm good.
Alright. Next one, if there is one.
That's it.
That's it? Alright, that's it. Anything else on the election? Alright,
Which station are we gonna visit first? One? Do we all meet at the same place?
I was just, Station 2,
Which, just, I don't care which one, just so that we all meet at
I would start at Station 1 where we're actually at, and
station,
focus on Station 1.
5 o'clock, station 1 Tuesday.
With Station 2, if there's any plans to redo that, you have to push the station back quite a bit to get us off 202, so we're not turning around in the middle of 202.
yeah, there's almost no room there.
There's no room at all, and we have a 40-foot fire truck coming in, that's not gonna be a spot. So,
Maybe make the entrance in the back.
I don't know how we would do it, I don't know what the lands, the
To the side.
area looks like there, if there's enough room to push it back. Violating setback, I
There
don't.
might be, you might be able to buy some, I think Mr. Libby owns the property behind that.
My only concern is if they were gonna go and fix both stations and operate out of both. We've already voted down this extra staffing, so it tells me the town doesn't want extra staffing. How are they gonna staff 2 stations if they decide to go that route? And why would you waste the money on 2 stations if you're not gonna staff them? When you can put it out of 1 central station and deploy everything out of that 1 station. You're not heating 2 buildings, you're not taking care of 2 buildings,
So you should
unless,
work out of station 1.
but Station 1's not in the prime location for the whole town, based on that study. That's the thing.
It's closer than station 2, right?
Hmm?
It's closer than station 2 though?
No, it'd be closer to like where we were talking, 631.
No, but I mean of the 2 that we have.
Use station 2 instead of station 1.
I wouldn't, because everything this side's gonna be suffering. You're gonna have a longer response time. You're adding 6 to 7 minutes on the response time already from that 1 spot. So we got some work to do, we just gotta do the right things and go through the motions and get the right information out there for everybody to digest and understand.
Alright. Is that it on the review of the vote? Anything else? Alright, public participation. Anybody?
I'll go first.
All you.
Mike Walsworth, resident of Lebanon. It's my sincere belief that Mr. Russell has now on 3 separate occasions violated my rights during public participation at select board meetings. Just last week, he prevented me from making public comment about others running for office in Lebanon. His reason was that, quote, anti-campaigning comments are not allowable. Since the board has, as a past practice, allowed candidates to speak on their own behalf during public comments at select board meetings, how much more so should a citizen be allowed to speak about candidates during an election cycle? Also last week during the select board meeting, Mr. Russell admitted that he did in fact speak with the town attorney in regard to the failed vote to seat him as chair of the select board last year. He said, quote, it came up in conversation. That admission is in stark contrast to his prior adamant denial that the conversation even occurred and the vicious attack he made on Selectwoman Boucher when she asked him about it on December 31st, 2024. Rather than admit his error in judgment or pay the taxpayers for spending their money without authorization, and apologize to Selectwoman Boucher for his honest actions toward her, he continues to pass off the events as incidental. Mr. Russell's further admission also further condemns Mr. Barnett's inaction on December 31st when he failed to bear witness to the truth of the matter. Mr. Russell's behavior raises grave concerns about his integrity and begs the question if the public can trust him as a selectman. I also have some questions on budgets. The highway budget is over $100,000 in the negative. Did Road Commissioner Garrish provide a financial accounting in February as required by Maine law? I'm asking that question because it doesn't appear to be in the annual report for 23-24. Did the select board provide Road Commissioner Garrish with written authorization to overspend his budget as is required by Maine law? If the board did not authorize him, he did overspend, but without authorization, can the town recover that expense from Road commissioner's bond. And lastly, on budgets, can the board provide an explanation to the public about the mapping department budget? This seems to be a new department and it has a negative balance of negative $26,000. While likely explainable, some clarification would be helpful.
Well, just to address your two comments, I was not the chair or the vice chair that night. I simply advised the chairman that I didn't think it was appropriate, and she made the decision that you shouldn't talk about it. It wasn't me. And as for the lawyer, came up in conversation on an authorized call with Rick and I that was approved by the board. And that's what it is, so. As to your other two questions, if you could put them in writing, I can look into them, or we can look into them and get you an answer. Next.
I suppose I have a bunch of questions, Brian Capalvo.
Hey, Brian.
There was a big meeting at the school. I think it was mentioned that we have $6 million in a rainy day fund opposed to the 3 that we were suggested to have. Does that seem true?
I think it's six,
6.5.
yeah,
6.5.
yeah, 6.4, 6.5.
Which is about double what
Yeah, we're
we
supposed to,
should have.
according to the auditors, we should keep 3.4 million, and this was just with a phone conversation with him.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he's 100%
Understood.
done, but around 3.5, 3.4, we should have in the budget. Do you know anything about those numbers, Paul?
You're on.
That's right. Okay.
Go back.
So one of the things that I don't understand in this town is that we have other schools in the district, they have SRO officers, and we do nothing for our kids in this school. The district has said, we need to pay for it as a town.
SRO?
Yeah.
The
A
police officer?
resource officer in
Yeah.
the school.
Okay.
So our kids are greatly at risk, right? We don't have a police department in town, response time would be
Yeah.
extensive.
Do other elementary schools have a police officer?
So I know that 2 or 3 of the other towns, 2 or 3 of the other schools have them, but
I know the middle school does and the high
High
school,
school, middle school.
but I don't know about the elementary
I
school.
don't know about the elementary school.
They don't.
But I think that we are so far away from a police department that I would be concerned about a response time. And I think that the board should be looking at what that looks like. And it seems like that money would be well spent
Okay.
over there.
Yeah.
We spend our money extensively on our fire department. I think that protecting our kids is an easy way to,
I brought it to the board for a sheriff for 40 hours.
Yep.
It didn't get put on the ballot.
Well, that would be just in town though. He's talking about someone dedicated at the school.
Yeah, but he could do that too.
Yeah, so the proposal, I think, was to have 40 hours a week when school's in session, he's at school. During the summer, he's patrolling.
He could cover our ordinances and he would be here during the day.
Yep.
Pick his hours, whatever he wants.
But
It's
you're
just
not saying
one
he'd
of
be
the
at the
contracts.
school, he'd just be in town.
No, he could be at the school. It's where you want to generate him at.
Okay, so you're saying
It's
all the time at the school?
Well, no, he doesn't have to do all the time, but he can do, it would be 40 hours, so it's 8 to,
What year did the town vote its department out, police department?
30 years ago.
Yeah, the 80s, right?
Shame on them. You know?
But I mean, I brought a contract to it, it didn't get put on. Maybe I'd like to see a citizen's petition put it on.
Okay.
If the board's not interested in looking at that part.
Well,
I'm sorry, that's how I feel.
I don't think that it shouldn't not be on the ballot. I have no problem putting that on the ballot and see, I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to the people.
Yeah,
So if we put it on the ballot, it couldn't hurt
That's all I
to the
ask.
people vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would be okay with that. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but,
It's a contract that I got from the sheriff's. You decide what you want as a town
Yeah,
to where to put his hours.
yeah, I mean, personally, I'd rather see him at the school and patrolling during the summer when school's out, but that's just my personal opinion.
well, and even if it was just where he was in town and within a couple mile radius of.
It's better than what we got now.
Right, no,
Yeah,
right, it's a start.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
and if then response time would be minutes as opposed to
Right.
20.
Take-
And nothing against them, they're just
Yeah,
striped in, you know,
understood.
it's not knocking the sheriff
Yep.
department, but
I'll take one.
if they're in,
Better than none.
you know, the other end of Sanford or whatever, by the time they get here, you're right, response time's not gonna be great.
Right.
So I guess that'll be something we can talk about if the board's interested for the November ballot.
Okay.
I don't know, how do you feel about that, Paul?
Need some more numbers.
I do have the numbers.
Yeah.
Whoever
Is
I-
the contract?
You know what the stark reality is?
Alright.
Do the first one.
Do you
What else,
have a
Mark?
contract?
That happens.
Did, I'll have to look, I don't know if we talked about it.
You had one.
Yep, the contract was for a basic rookie, for 40 hours in town, would be 90,000 for a basic rookie. The next level up, to basically a sergeant, to where you want somebody more affiliated with everything, would be roughly 150,000 for the contract.
That's short money given the service you get.
It's 40 hours a
Big
week,
difference too.
basically Monday through Friday. But he could deal with all our ordinances. The marijuana ordinances
Well,
would be different.
The question I have is, say it's outside of his 40 hours, and we have an ordinance issue, would the sheriff's department then enforce it, the ordinance, because of the contract?
I'll have to ask him, but I mean, it'd probably be more money, or because you.
Well, before, I mean, they respond, but they've said they can't enforce our ordinance because we don't have a contract, but if we have that in the contract.
Because the way that it works now is when the sheriff is called into town, and you see the sheriff here, he doesn't have to be here.
Right.
He's here because it's a reason, on their own, they're doing something. So our county taxes does not pay for a sheriff, I told it to Mr. Dupree, our county taxes don't pay for a sheriff to be here 40 hours like he asked. What about no.
Yeah.
What it is basically, it's a 911 call,
Yeah.
because we pay county tax, they have to come.
Yeah.
If you happen to see him in town because he's here,
Patrol.
next 3 days, it's because he's probably doing something that it's there, what they're doing.
I'd
So,
be interested in that.
speaking from reality, we've had 2 shootings in town.
Yes.
2 shootings. The first one was last August, and our ETA for county was 26 minutes.
But you had,
So I asked for Milton or Rochester to get there sooner because it was on that side of town. We got Milton, and then we got Rochester, and then we got county because of the distance that they had to travel.
that's the 2 shootings that you dealt with.
Had we waited for the first one, that child would have been dead.
Yeah.
And even then, we were told that the firearm was secure. It wasn't really secure.
The what?
The firearm, the gun.
Oh, okay, I think it's the fire.
It was a shooting.
Yeah, no. Okay.
So we took a chance and took a risk. It was a calculated risk. Thankfully, everything was safe. But again, 26 minutes for a deputy coming from Newfield. That's the reality you got.
Right. And then that was your 2 shootings that
If you have a school shooting over here, it's long and done before anybody even gets here for that.
Because you've had them 2 shootings with problems. We had 3 shootings with drive-bys.
Yep.
Plus those 2 that have been in town the last 3 months.
Because the drive-by would help them for it.
It doesn't matter.
Now, we've
I
had
know,
more
I'm
than,
saying.
we've had more drive-bys in addition to that with real guns. Like,
Yes.
there's been a bunch.
I'll reach out to the sheriff's department.
Yes.
I'll reach out.
Does this contract mean, like, let's say they get a call and like Sanford needs help or whatever needs help, are they gonna leave Lebanon and go and deal with that?
I think that would be protocol,
Yeah.
meaning, save my brother.
Yeah. if it was
You know, I mean,
mutual,
I think
Yeah,
that's,
mutual, I'm sure.
yeah, that's, yeah,
Just like they would respond here.
correct, yeah, if we had somebody here.
And what you get, if this does happen, this hits the radio that there's an incident at the schools, you get cops. They're just coming.
Yeah.
You-
But again, it's the travel time that
Yeah,
ruins
you get state police, you'll get the feds.
You get everybody.
Yeah, but who knows from where?
No, I agree with you,
Yeah.
it is an issue. I'd like to know if the other elementary schools in the district do have,
Yeah, I'm less concerned because they have a police department. in
I
town.
agree with that, yeah, I agree.
So,
I would like to know.
Where the
if they
Hudson
have-
School is versus the Berwick Police Department is
No, but
drastically different than what.
Well, but that being said, then, if they're not as worried, I should say, if they have it, not as worried about having one there because of the department, if we had a sheriff in town and we had him during school hours, and we asked him not to stray far from the school,
Yep.
then we wouldn't need him parked at the school.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Sure.
then the response time would
Yep.
be much better, so it just,
Yep.
that's why I was curious, if they do have one at the school, then.
I think you have a better chance of selling to people as an SRO who's in the school than you do as somebody who's patrolling and writing tickets, but that's my.
Yeah, I don't know if the
This
sheriff
contract-
could be in,
The contract, I don't think is more writing tickets, I think what we would
Well, I
want
understand, but
40
there's
hour
also a
officers.
perception from the people that have to vote for it. And the
Right.
perception will be that he's in town, he's writing tickets. it's full of
Well, yeah, we need to
Yes.
clarify
Oh,
more.
I see what you're saying,
Yes,
yeah.
we need to clarify more that it's more our detection
Right.
of everything else. Yeah, that's the criteria we're trying to work with.
Yep.
Anything else, Brian?
The last board, we talked about a social media policy. Did that ever get finished, finalized, submitted, anything? Nothing.
I don't remember that one. Was that before us?
So we had a department
No,
head.
that was here.
Yeah, we had a department head who was controlling a page and limiting who can talk. So the board just decided we're gonna shut off all commenting.
Okay, yeah.
And now we have people who push their side of things, whether it be right, wrong, or indifferent, but it doesn't allow for conversation, and I think that's wrong. So I think if we're gonna use town pages, it should be to
Hear both sides?
highlight employees or whatever, but I don't think it should be for pushing our personal sides,
Like,
the fire department.
so like pushing for a new, pushing for a new department or?
Pushing for a new station, pushing for new coverage, you're getting his side and not any other sides. And I think that's a challenge. If he wants to highlight his employees and he wants to talk about the calls that go on and stuff like that, I don't have any problem with that. But the idea that we're gonna put something on a ballot and everybody's only gonna get to see his side of it, I think that's wrong.
Alright, that's something we can discuss and get everyone's opinion on that. I think it's,
It's no
although I
different
was
than this page.
against the new station and,
That's not a town page.
and against
No
the
different than
extra
that.
staff, hold on guys,
Sorry.
against the extra staffing, I don't see a big issue with the fire department pushing their side.
I
but-
get, there's a lot of fear mongering that comes from that side, and that's the challenge I have.
Okay. Alright. Understandable.
Because I think that the voters came out and spoke pretty clearly that they're not looking for a $7.5 million station. And what we did was we got on social media and we started talking about building 2 stations, fixing the 2 stations we already have. That was years ago. We've already moved on from that, and now we're going back and talking about doing it after we spent $100,000 on a study that said that's not the most ideal situation for us.
What do you think the solution is? I'm not being a wise guy, I'm being serious.
What do I think we should be spending somewhere around $3.5 million for a single fire station,
Okay,
not the big beautiful fire station that was proposed here. I don't even know why we got to something like that.
okay. No, I wasn't being a
I
wise guy, I was being
don't
serious. What you
disagree,
thought.
we need a new fire station, but I don't think you're gonna pass a $7 million fire station,
No,
it's not gonna happen.
I agree with you, I agree with you. I don't know necessarily that fixing the one with the station
I don't
one
think
is
fixing
wrong.
either one of those stations is a good idea.
I agree with you.
But I don't understand how we got to the design we got to. Like, we're the town, we paid the architects. I'm in construction, right? So you start with a budget. Where are we gonna be at? And then you give it to the architects. Instead, we got a budget of $7.5 million.
That was the previous board's opinion on
I
the budget.
Not even.
Can I speak on this?
Yes,
I just
okay,
think
hold on.
I just think it was too much. And then you end up with the big beautiful fire station.
No, I get what
And
you're saying.
I'm gonna be that guy who votes for the most bland fire station you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, we cut it back quite a bit. We did, we
Well,
had, we had 5 bays, because we were gonna try and think for the future, we cut back a bay, we saved like 350,000. We had planning, we had codes, we had another meeting room in the building as well, to try and keep us all together and give you guys some room here. We took that out to save, was what, 9.5, 10 million when we first started? Right? It was about 10 million when we first started. We cut it back to 6.9 to make it more palatable. And if you look at the station, it's what we need. It's not anything grandiose. It's not the Taj Mahal as people put it out there. It's literally looking ahead what the OSHA standards are gonna be. And what we need to operate long term, because who knows what the town's growing exponentially, we know this. So if we don't grow with it, we're gonna be left behind as soon as we cut the red tape to get in there, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
And 7.5 million now is gonna be more in the future. It's not gonna go down. Prices have doubled since 2019. Berwick built their station for $360 a square foot. We're at $550 right now currently. So,
I think we need to have more of a committee. If we're gonna go forward on this, we're gonna be talking Tuesday of what this is, you know, as here, what this is gonna be, what we should do. I mean, there's so much going on till It's
Yeah,
gonna
the
be a
challenge I
couple-
have is we spent a bunch of money to have a building designed that I think was too extravagant.
I agree with you.
And now what's the next step?
I guess the other question is what's your experience in emergency services to make that determination?
No, let's not go there, let's not, yeah.
Just asking, I mean, it's a relevant question.
Alright, anything else, Frank?
What was the fire department budget last year?
871, 126.
127.
871.
Yeah.
So how did we get to a place where we put 2 questions on the ballot and basically handcuffed the voters that we had no choice but to accept a significant increase?
Because you had a citizen's petition that put on one number, and then we have a number that,
And that couldn't have been worded differently so that the voters actually have a choice? Because we had no
they could-
choice.
the choice would have been to vote no, and if it didn't pass, then we'd have to come up with a different budget.
Yeah, but I believe the question said it goes to the one that got the most yeses.
Those two did, yes,
Yes.
but not the one that had the most yeses, the one that had the most yeses and passes. If they both failed, we would be having a special election and coming up with a different budget, smaller, to,
or whatever the people decide.
yeah.
on a
To get it
special-
to pass.
special-
There's not usually a multiple choice for budgets.
Right.
Last year, we were handcuffed because it was 2 choices of 2 amounts, so you couldn't vote no, you had to pick one or the other. So there was no way to get a different budget. But if the voters had voted no on the fire budget, on both of those, we would be going back to the drawing board with a smaller budget.
Both of those numbers could not pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what would need to happen to get that,
Okay.
to get that to happen.
Okay. Chief's vehicle.
Yep.
It's bought by the town.
Yep.
It was told to the town that it was not his vehicle, but we were gonna outfit it like an ambulance. Right? We were gonna spend another $20,000 on the equipment in it, and that it would be billed out as an ambulance if it was used. I've been here multiple times and asked. To my knowledge, it's never been billed out as an ambulance to recoup some of that expense that was put into that. Do we know if that's changed?
That's not true.
Comment.
I can comment. When I go to a call, and I'm looking for a medic, we bill at the ALS level 1 or 2. That increases our billing rate, which increases our money coming in. It's not an ambulance, it's licensed as a main EMS vehicle.
Okay, so the last couple times I've been in here, I've asked you how much money that has generated, and you have not told me any amount. So has it generated
I can
any
tell you
revenue?
right now
Alright.
that our EMS billing has increased a lot because we're going to calls and we're billing for more amounts.
So if you do a FOA request,
Mhm.
you can find out the ambulance billing and the billing for that.
For that specific vehicle?
Yes.
Send it to the
Can
treasurer.
you do that for that specific vehicle?
We do it for whatever.
Oh, okay, I'm just asking.
But we also have a medic on during the day, Monday through Friday.
Paramedic, right?
Yeah. Kevin.
So, and you're a paramedic, you're hours most of the day, right?
Mhm.
So we have both our paramedics on during the day? So, alright,
Okay.
anything else, Mike?
I think that's all my questions for now.
Alright, thank you for coming in, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No.
Sure?
No follow-up?
No, I guess I'll just say one thing. Hi, Robert Travers. I just wanted to congratulate Teresa and
Bill.
Bill. I'm so
It's
sorry,
fine.
Bill. I've had a finals week is crazy, but I just wanted to congratulate them both on winning the election, and I wanted to welcome them onto select board, and I hope for success.
Thank you.
Robert.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Oh, and Mr. and Phil Paul, of course.
Sure.
Mayor Cole, but
That's fine.
You've been here forever.
Nice.
yeah,
I've heard you.
it feels like he's always been here.
Alright, individual selectmen issues. Teresa?
I already went over what I wanted to go over.
Okay,
I'm good, thank you.
awesome, you're welcome. Mr. Barnett?
Okay, of course, we'll get to that, but, Zach needs a computer. He's probably gonna talk about that, but I just had that down here, but he'll probably talk about that, his head department facility. And then, we're gonna do, when are we doing the walk around with workman's comp? Next week?
I think it's next week.
Next week, and then the safety meeting is tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Mhm.
So there's a safety meeting here in this office at 3 o'clock tomorrow. So all department heads, if they can make it, and everything, that's with Leslie, that's on Safety Works. That will be part of Safety Works, okay? And then, I'm gonna work with, somebody wants to work with me with a scope of work. We got the septic system to pass and the water softener money to pass, so we need to put out a scope of work.
What is that?
For people to bid, so basically it's what we wanna put down for what they have to bid for. We do have the septic design from the designer, that's already been bought and paid for, but I waited till we got the money and see
I'll
if
work
we
with
could.
you on that.
Okay, you work with me on that, Bill? Okay, so we'll have that, and that, because that's for the new septic system here and the water softener. And then, the other one I had was, we'll probably talk about that, but it was, we're gonna need a person on the budget committee, so it's probably gonna change. We did have one that didn't have enough votes, so we decided if we, I don't know how we're gonna decide that, if we're gonna move that person up, or if we're doing that, what we're gonna do.
I've got some applications already, but I think they put it out for the.
So that's how we're gonna handle that, is putting it out to,
I thought it was in the ordinance.
Yeah.
okay.
Do you remember a few years ago when they were gonna put up the person that got the next visit and then we couldn't do that because we don't have an ordinance that says we can do that, so we had to hand pick somebody.
Yeah, we picked the person that had the second most votes. That's kind of in the standard where we put it out.
But they,
Okay, so that's how we're gonna, okay.
Yeah.
All with,
But if you do the application, then you can still pick whoever you want.
and they put it out for 30 days.
do we need to put it out for,
I don't know if that's what
What's
they're
yours?
supposed to do,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, it says within
Yes,
30
we
days.
can.
Within 30 days.
has
It has
to
to
be
be
filled?
filled within 30 days.
Yeah.
The slot, that's what I mean, so we don't have much time.
But there's other things that are up too.
Well, I mean, so it just says we just appoint somebody. And my opinion is, I know the previous board got away from this, but my feeling is the person that came in next
One.
in votes should be the person appointed. I mean, it's, the people of the town placed several votes for someone, and if someone else was interested, they could have run. So
Because I
that's,
feel he spent his money on his campaign, and he got his
that's
25 people to sign to come up and
Yeah.
to do it.
That's my opinion. I don't know about the rest of the board, how we wanna handle it.
Well, if whoever puts in an application, you can still give them priority over everybody else on that basis, but this way, if somebody lost the election, but they don't want to be appointed, you don't run into that.
So he still
Wait.
has to, well, I should say, it's he, but that person should have to fill out an application.
Yeah, just
Just
so
submit
everybody
it.
does the same.
Okay, yeah.
And there are other committees that need volunteers too.
Okay.
Which committees are those?
Planning board and appeals board.
Is that the ordinance it's on?
That's the budget committee one.
Just find out the chicken you want.
Those bylaws we got last year were funky, cause it had extra members than what the ordinance has.
So,
There's some reads different, no, I got,
That one can be good.
that was what's signed. Okay, thank you. The one I
So
got,
do we wanna put that on the agenda for,
the one that you put up is posted, is there a date on that, when it's posted?
it is,
The
I know,
12th.
yeah.
That's what that is.
two,
Two.
plus an alternate? Is there a deadline for this?
There's no
I
date on
think
it.
they put, I thought they said 30, but Jen did it for, cause she was doing all the others. And I think it was
Well,
30 days.
It needs to be faster than 30 days.
Yeah.
To fill the spot.
Yeah.
That's it.
So the deadline would be the 13th.
There's no date on the advertisement, so.
There isn't? Okay.
Well, we need to do it at the meeting right before the 30 days hits.
Yeah.
Which would be
The 7th.
the
No,
7th.
sorry, the 8th.
Was anything different posted online?
There's no deadline.
Did you post this letter online?
Jen did it, yeah, so I thought she had a deadline,
Oh,
but
that's the
maybe if it's
planning
not in there, I thought she had one.
Fireman appeals and.
We're looking for board members.
Oh, do you have it?
No, no time.
Okay, so then that helps us.
So then we can put that on the agenda for the 7th. Alright,
Maybe we should get that updated with a,
deadline.
like a closing date on it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'll fix it.
So the
Closing
closing,
date like the 5th?
Yep.
Or the the Thursday before that,
the 3rd.
the 3rd then? Does that work for everybody? Okay.
July 3rd.
It doesn't have to be done by June 30th,
No, 30 days from the election.
the election.
Alright, anything else, Mr. Barnett?
Nope, I'm all set.
Mr. Philbrook?
Did Josh talk to you about getting fuel for his bucket? I should say bucket, whatever it is, skid steer.
Yeah, he's been getting that from, the road commissioner's fuel.
Okay.
And Scott at the time had said it was okay because he's using so little, he was gonna keep detailed notes. But did you have a problem with that?
No, I think it's currently empty. So we'll just have to figure out who's, I don't know if we had a particular person filling it or
I think it was quality.
was it quality?
I think it was Noah.
But you don't have a problem with him, I mean, he's probably gonna use 30 gallons a year,
Right.
you know,
He's got a tank in his garage.
so, and he'll keep notes of what he's using.
Mhm.
So, if you're alright with that.
Yeah, if it
Or if you wanna be there when he fills it, you can work that out too,
Right.
so that way you can see when it's being filled.
I don't see a problem with that.
Okay. Alright,
The grappler, is there anything being done with that?
I don't know where we're at on that.
What is that?
The grapple for the front for crushing the furniture and stuff.
We didn't have the money for that.
Okay. So,
You have the money for that?
No.
You don't have the
We
money?
did not.
But he's got extra money in his budget right now.
okay,
It looks like he's gonna come out with extra, so.
okay,
It's
Possible
something-
to use some of that?
yeah, I don't see why not. My concern is the billing for waste management when it catches up. The last bill comes in late.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at the balance there, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, but we're gonna get a $25,000 bill. We're behind, waste management's always a month behind on billing, so we're gonna get whacked with the bill.
What's he got left in his budget?
Wherever the EP is, there's a
Oh,
expense summary in there.
And then,
Can I ask, can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
I'd like to, because I think with a lot of these budgets, the way that they're really going over, I think some of the AP people need to put in them bills faster. I'm gonna go to the roads, because the roads, if you end up going to AP and you see a bill that's 2 months old, how does a head department know what he's spending when he's getting a bill for 2 months old?
Yeah, can you get on top of that, Zach, please?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying, because you don't know, you get a bill and all of a sudden we're again doing AP, and you have a bill for, for plowing, and you're looking at the sun shining, and, it's substantial, and it comes out of the budget, you don't know where you're at, and all of a sudden you get whacked with a $20,000 bill, and it's the same thing as what you're talking about with the dumpster fee at the end here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have maybe a $25,000 hit.
So it's 108,000 left. And the most recent waste, oh, well,
I
not
knew
too
it
far
was
behind.
in there,
Yeah, the 31st, and it's 25,000. So we only, he's way good on his budget.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah,
He's done a phenomenal job.
absolutely.
I don't know what the drop would cost, so you.
$6 grand, $7 grand?
I'd say 6 at the most.
Yeah.
I think that's what, maybe less, but I think 6 the one that he was looking at.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea because the furniture's real light.
Cause he hasn't been crushing.
We're paying the load fee, so we talked to him, I talked to him about that. Even using the cement area where the construction debris goes for furniture for crushing up, so I'm gonna get up there and talk to him, he's been thinking about where the scale should go and all that stuff, so. Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. Absolutely. Everybody else on board with?
We just need to do that before the end of the
Yeah.
year.
Do you wanna figure something out on that and?
Yeah, I'd like to follow up.
I think actually Bachelor Brothers has given him a quote
Yep,
already.
yeah,
So I think they have the bar there.
I thought they haven't sitting up
I
there.
think they do.
yep. Yep, alright. What else, Paul?
There was a email, I think you and Rick were on it for DDP, do a transfer station.
He hasn't,
One of you two following that up, or?
he hasn't reached out to us yet on that.
No, but he wants to come back.
Yeah, so he needs to reach back to us to figure out what his concerns are.
Yeah, you got them,
Yep, you got him, you're there.
Oh, I didn't see it.
yeah.
When does this come in?
Well,
today?
listen,
No, we sent it out to everybody.
other than that, that's it for now.
Okay. Mr. Church?
Nothing at this time.
I met with the members of the member of the Conservation Committee at the transfer station about the swap shop. Is the current board on board with the swap shop at the transfer station?
Oh, setting one up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be on board with it, as long as we got some safety protocols for it.
They're gonna get a shed donated, and they're gonna have volunteers there. And the easiest place that we came up with when I was up there is where the sand currently is for residents. It's close enough for Josh to get down there, and Josh said he'd work with me on it. And out of the way for traffic and plenty of parking,
How big of a shed are you talking?
not very.
We have one on our property, we need to get rid of.
it's
Can't
not
use it.
big enough.
No?
No. By the time we fix that. Well, like 5
Needs to go somewhere.
Yeah, we were supposed, we actually had, Shelley was supposed to work on that, I think, I'm not sure. But, because that's on somebody else's property. So we have to get an okay from the property owner where it's sitting to take it off there in case he wants it or there's some other problem.
Okay.
But it's almost like should just go to the junkyard, you know.
But the swap shop, everybody's,
So where would it be exactly?
well, the place that seems the easiest to start would be right where the dirt is. So when you drive up the transfer station where the split is to go to the roads, it's right past
Where they talked about when they were here, right? No.
past that, up next to the salt shed,
Oh, okay.
so.
Can I weigh in on that?
Yeah.
I was looking at that the other day when I was up there, because I remember you mentioned that spot, and my only concern is the closer it is to the salt shed, the more apt we're gonna have traffic, like trying to loop around and come in over there, you know, in front of the highway department office and garage, and I just really didn't want the traffic up there if we're, you know, we're loading the shed, or we're offloading material up back, or we get trucks coming in and out.
Yeah.
I was thinking, my thought was on pretty much directly across from that. If you know, there's kind of a drainage swale there, but I think it could be flattened out. There's another drainage area that runs off into
Yeah.
the woods.
I mean,
Sorry, I
would you
wasn't
be
trying to
able
poke you in the eye.
to, with your equipment, would you be able to make that so it's,
I think you can get it flat, and I mean, even that spot you're talking, the hot top's all crumbled and broken, and it would.
You putting power to that?
And there's a pole there, if you wanted. You might be able to drop power to it if you.
yeah, I mean, as long as it could go there, I mean, it seemed soft, so it would take, I mean, it needs some material dumped in there, and, I mean, you have the equipment to do, is that something you could?
Yeah, I mean, you could grub it out a little bit and
Yeah.
put some good gravel base down, and I mean, it's not like a permanent structure, so it's not getting a slab or a foundation or anything of that sort.
Yeah.
But it's something we could, you know, when I'm up there, we can, if you're around, we can look at and pick something that works. And then it just kind of puts them off enough where when they come back out from the transfer station, or there's at least enough room where they could loop around and be out of the
Yeah.
way of in and out going.
Are you guys okay with us pursuing that, I mean, going up there with?
I'd like to see a format of the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that's what I mean, I need to go up there with him now.
Well, because you're gonna do some traffic studies to what you're doing with
Well, yeah, we're gonna have to change
recycling
the
too.
traffic flow for the cardboard and,
Do you plan on
this
going out
guy.
behind the building?
I'm gonna try not to, but let's see, I think the best way will be where that grassy spot is in the middle, where you go up to the, if you're standing with your back to the metal, straight ahead, there's a grassy area where the, between the asphalt, you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Something leveling that off so people can loop through with the cardboard and still have room for the scale, so.
Because we did have a problem last week. I mean, we're over there, they're burning, and people just pulled out back, started throwing stuff on the fire. So we had.
Well, golden opportunity.
Oh no, so I had to go over and say, sorry. Go over, see, so I think a lot of the stuff that, we looked at some stuff that happened to be stuck out there. I think people are just going around the back throwing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think maybe blocking that off, stopping them, like where your trailer is, you know, instead of coming around. That's why I asked if you plan on coming around that building, because they just cleaned up that whole
Well,
mess.
my thought is that we'd have, where they loop around, people coming back that aren't hitting the cardboard, and then a further loop with lines painted where they're dropping the cardboard and construction debris. So, whatever we do, it's gotta be laid out in lines and made sure, and that's what the,
I think a format would be.
yeah, no, 100%, yeah, that's what I gotta do.
Before we actually place the building in.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%, yeah, I agree with you. That's why I'm gonna ask if it's alright if I go up with him and see what he's talking about, and then I'll have the whole layout for how I think it should be done up there with the dumpster and the compactor for cardboard and the glass and all that stuff.
I'm still curious how stuff's getting from point A to point B, how stuff's getting to that building, and after it sits there for a while, how it gets from that building to,
Get rid of it.
how to get
What
rid of,
stuff?
who's handling that?
What stuff?
Things that people don't take.
The swap shop.
Oh, yeah, a lot of it would end up in the metal or back in the volunteers would handle that. So the people would come and they'd drop stuff off there. And then if it didn't go, or whatever, a certain amount of time, the volunteers would be taking it over to the compactor or to the metal.
Is DEP gonna have any questions on any of this?
I guess we'll find out, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to, they're gonna be here.
Because they're questioning about the fact that the tires, is it got solid ground underneath it, or is it dirt?
There's a lot of questions.
I think we'll talk, Josh will be here at the safety meeting tomorrow.
I think so. He's
Yeah,
invited.
he's pretty good.
Just some details that,
Yeah.
that, you know, things are popping up here, like make sure that we cover all the bases.
I agree.
Did I get that in my email?
I think so, everybody. Yep.
Okay.
When did it come?
When was that one? It was right after the election, cause we were working with, I was working with Zach on it, cause he had.
Alright, anything else, Paul? Or are we on me? We're on me, aren't we?
It was on.
Sorry. The swap shop, and then, I guess that's it.
Yeah, could you send it again? Cause I didn't see it.
Okay. and maybe you're in email that's another. I'll do something.
Alright, unfinished business. I don't have a list right now. But I can compile one with some help with Lynn and maybe Paul and Rick of things we need to start working on so we can get back to actually doing unfinished business. Review of minutes
Can we,
of lunch.
can we get these guys are here?
Oh, department head briefing, we skipped that, sorry.
Well, we'll chime in at the same time.
Alright. Chief, thank you for joining us again.
Alright,
What's going on?
so I sent you both, email from FEMA about what they're looking for in specifics for the site, for the debris pile. I can't answer those.
Okay.
So if you would like to just weigh in on that. Like I said, Safety Works is coming in. I do wanna talk about the budget if we can, and then also who's gonna be the department liaison.
We haven't talked if we're gonna do that yet, or if it's just gonna be everybody together. If there's gonna be a liaison.
How do you feel about that, Paul?
That's a board decision.
I know, but how do you feel about it?
I seen it work and I seen it not work, so. And it looks like this last time it didn't work.
I feel the same.
Okay. All of us.
Cool.
Well, yeah, that's just me and him.
That's me, well, again, I'm fine with that, so,
You guys,
What?
instead of having just one person
I
into
think
the
that's a good
department,
idea.
instead, and then more or less have like team meetings.
Yeah.
Into the department heads and stuff, so that everybody has the same, they get the same answer, I guess. It would be-
Yeah.
Same understanding
Right.
of the answer.
Yeah, okay, yep.
And I think it makes it look like that we're working as a team, which is important.
I agree. Alright,
And then the budget, I made the chair aware, that we were getting close with the fire budget. We were waiting on.
previous chair.
Yep, previous chair. We were waiting on $15,310.78 from a grant to come in, and then the FEMA money. And then we had talked, I remember we talked about selling engine 4 and tank 7, that money coming back to fire. But I don't know if that's the case.
I don't know if does the FEMA money go into their budget, Paul?
No.
Doesn't, but it goes in general fund, doesn't it?
FEMA comes back because it's the same year. It's the same year.
Okay.
So,
Is it the same year?
yeah,
If we get it,
April start.
by July.
it's gotta be by July 1st.
Oh, it's long.
And it already came in, so that money's in,
Our FEMA money?
yeah, for us, for the fire department. The road project is still waiting for the completion from you guys and then the analysis of the,
How much did you get?
98,24,75,
98,000?
9,800.
98.
We didn't put in for a whole lot because we didn't expend a whole lot.
What's roadside,
I don't know.
140? I know,
I haven't even seen the amount.
I think it was
I have to
like,
log into this system and look at it.
you can log into
I
that,
think so. Yeah.
because he's gonna have to do some upgrades on billing for the burning the brush, moving the pile, those answers you're looking for, what we're gonna do, there's actually an add-on to that. To what was on top of that, there's like a over and beyond, so whatever Scotty had done like 2 weeks ago when they burnt it, whatever the time is for that has to be billed in on that, that'll be a upgrade to what it is, and I think, for some reason, it was on 239 to start, but I think that might have been part of your money in there too, I'm not sure,
Do we know when we're gonna get that wrapped up?
We have to do a couple of things with the
we gotta
budget.
do a couple more things.
We had it tested though already.
I brought that to Westbrook,
Thank you.
and they said it could be 10 days, they said it could be a month
Oh, for the testing?
for the results.
And we had to have it done by Friday the 13th.
Had to have it in.
Yeah,
Right.
right, so yeah, so we're,
What happened was the state went up there. Just by chance. And then they saw they didn't know if that was being built for them, and so I had to do it.
Yeah, the person that, Derek,
Yeah, Derek.
you know,
But
on
he
that
does
thing,
wanna
he's,
talk to you guys about the transfer station.
yes, and I think we ought to have Josh in on that, and ask Josh those questions.
Alright, we're getting away
He's
from the
asking for it.
department head briefing though.
So, fire budget, looking at my lines, my vehicle maintenance is over by 17,000. My EMS billing is over, where did I put that? Over by 6,600 and climbing because we're still billing for calls. Cause it's not a current, they're still back a couple months. The rent and I think it's a permit fee, $6,300 right there. So we're already at $30,000.
What's the rent for?
It was for 2 months at Merchants Row. August and September of last year. So there's 2 months worth of rent. It wasn't part of the budget, the 871, 127 doesn't account for that stuff. It doesn't account for the overage and the vehicle maintenance, which we talked about what was gonna happen. We talked, the 3-year average was,
You needed 65.
45, yeah, exactly.
But the rent I didn't know about.
But the rent was there, the EMS billing, like I said, they budgeted for $11,500, and we're already at $18,118. Because we're billing for all our calls, we're answering our second calls.
It goes back to that same thing, I said, they're bringing in bills 2 months later.
And it's behind, it's
That's what I'm
medical
saying.
billing,
Yeah.
right? That's why we budgeted for like 21,000 this year, knowing it's gonna be an average of about that for the year. So, we're, overexpended in the overtime line, which I don't understand, I know how we are, but when I hit that and I hit 0, I stopped using that line on my side. Everything I did, I set up just like this.
What's the total budget at?
According to this, 893, 177.93, with a credit of 18,196.75, and we're 100%.
875, what's the budget?
871, 127.
We're already over.
We're already over, according to this.
Yeah,
But this is behind because there's credits coming in that we haven't counted.
right, how about, I saw something that I signed on Grace Detail? What's that?
They did an education detail for a day. It was a 3 or 4 hour
Oh, so,
kids expo health fair.
okay, so it's not like proven ground?
No,
Oh,
no.
you don't want to go
That's
with,
separate.
okay,
That's
cause it said details.
That's separate.
Somebody had detail on it, that's why I was wondering. if
It was separate. It was for a community event, basically.
Did you, and how about the proven grounds that they paid you?
I don't know.
So that goes back to you too.
Supposed to go back to us into here. So what I noticed when I've gone through this and all the expenditures I made, like if I order supplies, I go right in and I know the amount and I take it right out of that line every time I make an expense. Every time I get a bill, I'm on top of it. When I go back and I look at it and I look at the detailed expense report, some of the things that are in there don't make a lot of sense. There's things that have been put in an error, there's things that have been miscoded or misplaced in different lines. So I've talked with Leslie and we're gonna sit down and every 2 weeks
Right.
have our own little audit to make sure that we're on the same page with everything. Because there's been, I think, too many hands in the pot with coding at one point. I think there were 3 different people doing it. Right,
Should be just
between
one.
the 2 temps and then Leslie and kind of back
Yeah,
and
because
forth.
Leslie has come to me and said that she'd like to meet with the department heads,
Yes.
not just you.
Right.
But all the department heads more like at least once a month,
Mhm.
so that these things are coded right and everything
So what are you thinking we're gonna be at?
Well, I had sent an email that had like a mini budget, I think we were about 21,000 short. But we only have 2 weeks left, so,
And we still haven't.
and we still have 15,000 like that's just sitting out there waiting.
Yeah, they haven't.
It was supposed to be, it was a check that was returned months ago, that was supposed to be reapplied and automatically deposited electronically. But I asked her today, she said she hasn't seen it yet.
But it's an income.
Mhm.
There's an income
It's a
there.
credit, yeah.
Then there's an income there, credit as you want
Yep,
to call it.
15,000.
And then should be a credit there for proven ground.
Mhm.
Do you know what that number was?
Proving grounds, I think was like 4,800 for that weekend,
So about 20,000 credits coming out, you get.
just about.
And we're gonna be 21.
Let me see if I can pull that email up specifically, because I did have like a mini
I didn't see it.
budget.
Have we spent any of the contingency this year?
No.
No?
officially. Talked about where it might, so it might come out, something might come out of it.
Oh, what about your, we talked about that before, the excavator part. Does that come out of your budget?
It's the one that we talked about.
There's another $4,000 right there, or something like that.
Yeah, so that, we talked about bringing that out of the,
Contingency.
yeah, our money, selectmen's money to, because he didn't have a line on that, we talked about that.
Yeah, bring
To
it
have
out,
him hold it,
and then bring it out of contingency if we needed to.
So we need about 2 weeks worth of payroll. And probably some fuel,
25.
electricity, and yeah, I'm not looking, so I'm thinking, it says right here, total need is approximately 21,000, but even for 2 weeks. My regular payroll is like $9,800 this week.
So that doesn't include the 21,000 that's coming in?
No, that's included, that's everything. That was for a 4-week total, so the 4-week total minus what we had coming in, the remaining balance is 21,000,
So if we don't get that grant money,
which we're getting, but it's
it's gotta
supposed to
come
be
in.
deposited.
Okay.
But, like, if you looked at my payroll line still has 75,000 in it. My regular payroll, my regular wages still have 75,000 left over. It's just, it's these over expenses in these areas that kill us.
I think that's what Leslie wants to sit with him
Well,
more often.
Yeah.
alright, so I guess we gotta sit down and see where the budgets are at in the contingency fund.
Like the medical physical exams, that line was over expended because we had an unforeseen circumstance which required a hefty bill. At the
Yeah,
hospital.
that's,
That's $3,500.
yeah.
That's more than what the line is for that line. So.
That's protocol.
So the actual number you need is 21?
Roughly. But I think that might be skewed because of, if you look at the next 2 weeks, what if we have a fire or two? I mean, we had 8 fires this year already, and we're only into June. So, we can plan for the worst and hope for the best, but
Alright,
that doesn't
anything else, chief?
I just wanted to make you aware of that. That's pretty much all I got for now.
Alright, thank you.
Welcome.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Okay, so when I was looking at the payroll thing, I saw that, what is the ME grant? It was saying like it was taken off.
Oh, for payroll? So there's a
Yes.
main EMS grant,
Oh, okay.
which we applied for, and we couldn't use it to pay for existing bills. So you could use it to augment staffing, so we actually added overnight coverage 7 days a week, plus 2 weekend shifts with that grant. That's what that grant covered.
Nice.
And
So it gave us 3 on duty almost
yeah, that's
around the clock.
the 15,000 he was talking about that he
Oh.
hasn't got
Yes.
because something happened down the line.
For some reason, there was another address in the main EMS system where they sent the check to for the remittance, which wasn't correct,
Yeah,
Oh,
which I never saw. It had nothing to do with me, that's been there for
correct.
a dozen years,
4 years.
4 years.
something like that.
It came to my attention.
So,
It should be coming back to you, but
yeah.
it was just, it's moving around.
Thank you, chief. Zach? Our new road commissioner, congratulations.
Thank you. I have some things here, just, wanted to go over some of the, let me open my laptop here. One of the things being, I went out and checked out the office, there is no computer there. I don't really have one at home, I have a small Google Chromebook, but I'd like to keep this stuff separate, obviously, from my personal. A cell phone, whether or not if I'm gonna have one of those, that could be, a direct line from the, when you call the town office, you put
Yeah,
7 for,
You had that set up.
Thank you, Joe.
I have that as a landline.
Yes.
thank you.
That is there. Whether we wanted it to be more mobile, I wanted to look into that. And how I go about if I'm taking that out of the, my budget or if there's,
No, it'd definitely come out of your budget.
Scott, I have a phone.
I
Yes.
think he used his regular phone,
Oh.
I think. I don't think he had two phones. I mean, he might have, but
I thought there was a line item for phone.
he might have gotten paid for his phone, for using his phone. I don't know. But
So it'd
there's a
be the
phone
same
up
thing.
in the, there's a phone in, so that might have been his phone that we're seeing. 'Cause he has one in the building.
He's talking, there's a landline phone at the office.
And that costs money, so that might be this, what she's saying.
I'm pretty sure there wasn't a line item for phone in his budget.
I think what it is he pays his phone, but the town pays his phone. So we're probably better off to probably have a town phone.
I wasn't involved in any of that, if he was
Is there
getting paid.
any electronics line in that road commissioner budget?
I think there was, no, I think there was like an office, cause we were trying to kinda look at it.
There's technology.
There's like an office supply line, I think.
What he specified?
So I know Rod has a separate phone.
Right, but it comes out of his budget.
Right, that's what I'm
And
saying.
that's what, that would have to come out of his, I don't know if he has it, I don't know what's in his line
Utilities,
item.
just electricity, safety.
No, I don't think there was. There was like
No,
a
that's what
$500
the
office supply line item, I think, on there. And I'd like to, I don't think Scotty really utilized the office, he kinda did it from home.
Yeah.
So, you know, going forward and sooner than later, I'd really like to have, you know, the computer. I'm gonna probably need Wi-Fi up there, I imagine, to run the computer unless I'm hotspotting off something else or,
You should have
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, cause the
Maybe Matt
phones
Leggett's house, straight across the street,
The
get his
phones are-
password.
all phone Wi-Fi. If we lose Wi-Fi, we lose our phones. So your
Yeah.
phones, you should probably have that already.
okay,
I think Josh has it.
maybe it is, cause I didn't see like a modem
Yeah,
or a,
wouldn't,
you know.
um,
So that's the biggest thing on my list right now that I guess I need. You know, Lynn, Leslie, they've all been great in the office helping me get kind of acclimated. Paul gave me the pay scale rates that we have. I wanted to kind of look into those too. I noticed some of them have been kind of scratched out, something new written, and then photocopied. I don't know when it was done,
For what?
for different rates on equipment for,
Oh, I got you.
you know, the subcontractors coming in to do work.
Yeah.
I really wanted to, you know, talk to another town that has a similar model as we do, just to see where they're at. You know, to keep the, I don't know how old those numbers are.
Yeah.
And if they're fair, maybe they're high, I'm really not sure.
I think the best way would be to get some, I mean, I don't know if you get some bids, put hourly rates out or whatever
Right.
for bids.
Town of Acton does the same thing.
That's kind of what I was thinking, like, one of them,
Mhm.
cause some of the smaller, you know, if we're just putting in a culvert or we're doing some, you know, tree work, ditching, stuff that needs to happen sooner than later, it's hard to like bid it,
Right.
or get the quotes and then wait for, you know,
Well, I
maybe
mean,
one
if you find
approval.
somebody you can work with at a rate that you get out,
Yeah,
that would be willing to be, you know,
Right.
responsive to
And like
when you need them.
the list I have, you know, it has obviously our plow truck rates on different size
Yeah.
trucks, and then, you know, it has skid steer, excavator sizes. You know, there's kind of a general rule of thumb.
Yeah.
You know, pricing wise, where that stuff should be.
Yeah.
So I'd like to look into that a little more. Skip that. Yeah, the day after the election, I sent that ash sample to that Northeast Laboratory Services in Westbrook. They didn't give me much more information other than it'll get tested for the, whatever, it was in the email what they wanted it tested for. It was, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I just wrote that on the work order. They took that and off it went.
Did you get a copy of that, Lynn?
They didn't give me a copy of the, I forget what they called it. It was like, it really wasn't much, it was just kinda like their work order, I guess. Yeah, it was just,
Is that from them?
this was one that they sent us. And we printed it. This is the one that I gave them.
But that's the one they gave you, showing that the ash is there?
No, this was a copy of, I started filling out, this was a copy of it, and then I ended up filling out another one. But it's just really where it's going,
Okay.
where it's coming back to.
Do you need that?
Well, it's probably from his budget, but if you wanted to call to follow up on it, you
Yeah.
can.
It's not a receipt, it's just,
Right.
But she can call them to follow up on the testing.
yeah,
Are they
this will give
supposed to call
you,
you, or are they gonna call?
You should probably
we
call.
put, I believe we put the town office's address and phone number on there.
Alright, can I have that? So-
Yeah, like I said, there's not
I'll
much
give
on
you
that.
that too, but I'll call him
Just
just to
make a
see
copy.
where it is.
Yeah,
If you want, so I'll take that.
Alright,
so that's where we're at with that, and then I don't know if we have to wait to see how we have to dispose of that ash. I know we had some emails, about removing it, but I wasn't sure if we have to remove it if it's not dirty,
Right.
if it's
I-
just plain old
yeah,
ash, can
Maybe
we?
that's when they tell us what to do. That seemed to be, he wanted to see the ash results first, so.
Yeah,
oh yeah, that makes sense. Then you
Yeah,
can tell
because
us.
if something's wrong, they're probably gonna want it to go, DEP might want it to go somewhere
Right.
else.
Right.
Instead
yeah,
of-
it said a lot about disposing of
They
it at
did.
like waste management or
Yeah, we probably gotta wait till you get the test results so we can dispose of it.
I would think, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know what regular ash,
And the telephone poles are gone, right? No?
I believe so,
Okay.
Alright,
It's kinda hard for him because he was,
kind of in the middle of it here.
Yeah.
In fact, we
Or the
got,
tail end,
we
Yeah.
got that email the day before the election,
yeah.
and then the day of the election, he was in, so it's like, we've got some stuff to do there.
yeah. Alright, anything else?
Yeah, just kind of a quick, workload. I haven't gotten everything, I've gotten some stuff from Christine and, taking messages at the office. Some potential ditching and tree trimming on Bog Road. That was a homeowner, I think he had a water issue with the ditch and it's running into his yard. I haven't gone down there to see it, but I am planning on that. Large culvert on Shapley Road. I think it's a 36-inch, that's another thing that's Scotty had in the works.
is that the culvert you were talking about?
Right by the tree farm.
Yeah, I know which one it is.
He also has some header walls made for it that the culvert will actually slide into. Those are at Pepin's Concrete. It'll just be a matter of getting that dug
Is that
up.
some of the FEMA money because of the storm is why we're replacing that, or is that just being replaced
No,
because
it
it
has
needs to
it's
be?
rotted. It has a way off to the shoulder, there's a hole. So they have it, currently they have it just, kind of coned off and, it needs to be done. And especially before school starts, or starts back up in, I would say probably 2 or 3 days, but you have to just shut that section down for that time.
And that's where that .gov would come in handy,
Yeah.
that way there he can post it,
Yeah, every department head could just posted it on.
and that's something you can't start till July 1st anyways, correct?
Right.
That wasn't on, well, he's over anyway, so,
No money?
yeah, no money to start, yeah.
Going forward, I plan to be talking with some contractors for paving. Try to get them out here to give me different numbers on, whether it be grading or, not grading, but grinding. However they price it, whether it's per foot, square foot. And same with like Pike or Rocks, get some numbers for hot top. I've talked to Scotty a little bit about it, but I'll pick his brain a little more.
Yep.
And then Gully Oven Road is obviously a topic of conversation. I need to, the stone walls on Gully Oven, does the town own? They're right on the shoulder pretty much of the road, and when it was paved, it was still right on the shoulder. So some spots need to be ditched to pave it and have it hold up. Otherwise the water will be just running right down the shoulder. And I don't know if any of those can go away. If,
That's part of right away.
I think
I mean,
it's
I think
against
it's
the
in the
law.
right of way, but it's,
I think it's against the law to remove the stone walls.
right,
I think I've seen that somewhere.
That's on property lines of varying, but if it's in the 50-foot, if it's in your setback of your road, we should call, or somebody that knows it, but I think you can take it out, cause at one time I had to take out Center Road for them to apply for that subdivision.
Yeah.
We actually, the town wanted the road, the stone wall removed before they would even give any permits. But we probably wanna deal with MMA or somebody on, if this is the right of way and it's 10 feet in the right of way, that stone
Yeah.
wall, if we can remove that.
I know it gets strange with the walls, so I,
You can call MMA for it.
sure,
It might take
Great.
a couple days to get the answer, but
yeah.
No, we got a couple weeks that we can.
These are just, you know, things that I've looked at and observed driving around, and I know we really need to come up with a plan for that road because we spent a lot of money on the gravel on it, and it's, you know, the more of these summer thunderstorms that roll through and start washing it out, and, you know, we're kinda back at square one. But it needs more attention before we can pave it.
Yeah, because it's not draining right, it'll just eat away where we pave.
In November's ballot, could we, if he got quotes on that whole road to fix that road, could we put something on the ballot in November to have that road
Where you got the money
general fund?
from? Can't keep tapping that general fund.
No, I know, but we haven't, I mean,
I know,
we can't do anything if we raise taxes on it until June, correct?
Right.
So we couldn't.
Unless you do a special collection, which you don't wanna do,
Right, yeah, cause it's more money.
but all that, and probably get tied and feathered and rolled down the highway.
I don't know, I mean, if you look at the way the votes ran and on the roadside, I think they were good numbers. Good numbers, yes. You know? I know it,
Didn't come with another tax bill.
Didn't come with another tax bill. I also think it's gonna come down to what the actual numbers look like too.
Yeah, we're talking serious money here.
well, I wanna just get realistic gully up and.
get a real number.
You know, both end
Why not?
to end.
Why not keep it dirt?
I don't think that people.
Because I'm gonna put your house up there.
I live on a dirt road. I do all the maintenance myself, so.
I mean, it was paved, so
How
I
far
feel like it should be paved.
How far distance are we talking? Mile, half mile, 2 miles?
Gully was probably closer to, yeah, a mile and a half or two. And it was
That's the whole paving budget right there.
just beyond that.
That's $1
$1
million.
million, that's it, $1 million a month.
Yeah, it's $1 million road.
It's gonna be, yeah.
No, it's not $1 million, but a mile.
Build and pay.
Yep.
But
But a lot of the
Rule
infrastructure
of thumb.
been done over the last couple of years. But it, you know,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wanna have one of these paving outfits come out and measure it, tell me what it's gonna be, if this is graded, ditched, you know, for a base coat to go from one end to the other. At least we have that baseline, and then
yeah, you got something,
You know.
and if we gotta wait till June to put it on the ballot for
if we can,
raises the taxes, not general fund, then
I mean, I really hate to do part of it. And then, you know, have them dragging all the gravel out onto the new section of road, or, but like the hills, maybe you tackle a part of it. And honestly, I mean, Gully Oven right now is better than some of the paved ones that need attention, so it's, gotta figure out where to focus. What else? Yeah, it was kind of just back to my the office up there. Like I said, Scotty, I don't think he really used it as his office. I need a desk. I think the desk was in there when Ray Davis was in there. I remember his feet on it. So the
At
drawers
least you
don't.
remember.
Father-in-law.
Yeah.
The drawers don't really work. A file cabinet. I don't need a lot. I plan on going up there tomorrow and kind of cleaning out, bringing some stuff over to the metal pile, and a lot of that stuff I can probably find on Marketplace for free or next to nothing. The shop is in dire need of some tools. I didn't really see any. I need a compressor. And it'd be nice to have a pressure washer, or it'd be really nice to have a steam cleaner over there, because the equipment hasn't seen,
Well, I guess you should put together a list of what you think you need, and then we can discuss it.
right?
Mm.
And I
Put
didn't,
together a detailed list.
yeah,
And,
'cause-
and estimated costs on each item,
right,
for whatever tools, a base set, a sock, whatever, I mean, whatever you're talking about. And,
yeah, it's
And
nothing
the importance
elaborate,
of-
but it's, you know, it should be
um,
some stuff that we can at least do the basics on the equipment there.
no, yeah, upkeep is
You
definitely.
know, a decent sized toolbox. It's Harbor Freight, you can leave with a lot of stuff
Yeah.
for pretty short money.
Why don't you put together a list
Alright.
of things you need, compressor, and, cause I mean, obviously you need a compressor for filling the air in those.
Yeah,
Especially we have a new wheeled skid steer, so, and then we can discuss what can be spent out of the budget and whatnot.
and then lastly, really, the equipment is in need for some repairs. The new loader is running, but not well. I think it probably just needs filters, fuel filters.
That's all, and you have all those line items in your budget,
Yeah.
so whatever you need to do when the new year starts.
Yep. And yeah, I guess the biggest thing right now is just a computer. I'd really like to have that so I can at least view the emails that I'm getting sent.
Well, I mean, a basic Chromebook's $200, I think,
Yeah,
so.
You have a line item for all
we'll-
I think we just have office supplies,
that?
like,
Yeah.
We do everything with Amazon on that, right?
The computers we usually, I mean, I don't know, we do data defined because they secure them, but I don't know if you,
No, he's not gonna need that.
yeah.
They're too expensive. But yeah, put together a list and a price line next to the items, you know, cheap Chromebook or something, and
yeah, I
then
mean,
we
I
can
can,
discuss it here and figure out what,
yeah. I guess just to get it sooner than later, I mean, if I can,
well,
I mean, I'll go buy one if I can get reimbursed for it, or however that works.
Nothing will be able to happen until the new budget.
Yeah.
So that's still a couple weeks out, so
Okay.
in that time, if you get together a list for us, like I said, then we can.
What about that one, can I use that one?
I can help you get what you need, just.
Yeah, I'll come in,
Line items to.
sure.
Yeah.
And I'll be in so we can kind of look at some of that stuff.
You'll show up to some of the meetings?
Sure.
Thank you, Spec.
And the answer.
So, can I put some input on what I saw with him?
Yeah.
There was a in the thing, there was a machine, the speed limit sign machine. Remember,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's gotta be,
Digital.
can you get that set up so we can put that some places?
I think it should be on Flat Rock Bridge.
Well, I think we can move it around, 'cause I
Move it
know,
wherever you want.
Where they've had a problem.
it's also been a problem over by the dam on Champion. And that gentleman had been asking for
Okay.
something. So
But there
that's-
is, it's a brand new.
Yeah,
needless.
I've had it for years.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you could get that set up, that would be cool.
I don't know if it's all there.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't see how you adjust. I don't know if there's a
Should
little
be.
thing you plug in.
Cause when we got it at first, we wanted to use it for elections too.
Right.
Election today, but for all different kinds of.
See, I don't think this one does that. I think it's just a speed limit.
Yeah.
And if you're exceeding whatever you put in, it'll flash, so there's a little spot, there's like a white light that'll flash.
Isn't that the one where you could change everything in it?
I think you're thinking of the big ones, like a,
Yeah, there was one of those. That they could program for different things. I don't know where that is.
I haven't even, maybe it's behind the building, I haven't walked out
I
there.
don't know.
But we needed a trailer to put that one, the speed limit one on.
It's on a trailer,
Okay,
or it has wheels. I
okay.
wouldn't go fast, but it has wheels.
Yeah, it's one of the portable ones, you see the cops drag
No, I
around,
know,
they put it on
yeah.
the side of the road. Like
Then
you
he
said.
must have put it on a trailer, cause at the time there wasn't a trailer for it. So, alright,
I'll look at it, like I said, I'm not sure how, I went in there and actually plugged the batteries in, cause they had them unplugged, and it lit up and went through like some sort of cycle, but I don't see where you program it, so
well,
maybe
we can
another
let
way.
IT know, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's you. Give them an owner's manual on your phone.
Yeah, no problem. Alright, well, congratulations again, and they said get us that list and we can figure out.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know about the computer, we haven't ever talked about that for a road commissioner.
I think there was one
Have
there
we?
before,
Was
but
it ever one, Paul?
I don't remember.
Alright. Alright, thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Alright. And, paperwork. A lot?
Not too much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
How do we do this, the minutes?
Only the two of you can sign it.
Yeah. And we can't, only the two of us can motion to,
Yeah, I mean,
If the missing member has been out of office, the rest of the board can vote in.
okay.
oh,
Yeah,
Very nice.
we run this every year, so,
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
yeah,
alright,
so
well,
as long as it's the member that's no
Yeah.
longer.
well, that's not just missing the meeting.
Right.
Alright, so I make a motion to accept the minutes Monday, June 9th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
We can't sign
Only two signed? So there's only two left.
Yeah.
So whatever's left is whatever's left.
Alright, request for time off. Personal reasons.
Russell Josh.
Alright, so, our current backup appliance, Synology, is over 8 years old and has unfortunately fallen out of warranty. Now, this is an email from David Boutley of Data Defined. Because of the criticality of backup, we've put together a quote to upgrade this appliance with a new device. The new model comes with free hardware provided. We commit a 3-year agreement. While this upgrade does come with a slight increase in monthly costs, $96.35, slight.
That's the total though, so I don't know what the increase was.
Oh, no, it says two an additional.
Oh, okay.
In addition, it includes new hardware, enhanced cyber protections, and a formal data center. I believe this upgrade will significantly benefit our operations by ensuring we have ample storage capacity and robust security measures in place. Please let us know your thoughts on this. Thoughts?
So it's additional, so it's adding $96
Yeah,
a
I
month
thought-
to it.
I thought, yeah, but it's for
So-
cybersecurity and stuff too, for hacking.
What was ours before?
I don't know the number before on that particular thing, I don't know.
Problem is we're kind of, I've gotten a couple calls that it's not working. They can't tell me what to do when they call and just say it's the backup system's offline, but the regular system's working, so it wasn't anything urgent at the time. But we're kind of locked in with Data Defined. And I think it, unfortunately, we just kind of gotta bite the bullet. Do you agree, Paul, or?
No, that's, you don't have much choice.
Yeah, because of they do all our computers,
Security.
everything. So it's not like we can go get a quote from someone else unless we change the whole system.
So you're talking about $100 a month?
Yeah. That $1,200 that wasn't budgeted.
I was gonna ask you, how close is your budget on technology?
I don't know.
I don't have it. I can run in my car and grab my old budget.
No, it's just, you off the top of your head.
I think we need it.
Or we can wait till next week.
Well, we did have a problem once, remember when all the phones in the whole town were open?
No, I think we should, if the other one's failing, it could cause more problems than not. If we don't, like I said, we can't get quotes from other people unless we switch everything over, so.
And we have a contract with this
Yeah.
one.
How is general government this year for budget?
We're doing okay.
So hopefully next year then it won't matter. And if I have to, we just pay it out of contingency.
So is everybody okay with?
Yeah.
And then we have some certificates of appointment to renew. The first one is to Leslie Randazzo in the County of York in the state of Maine. The Selectmen of the Town of Lebanon, in accordance with the provisions of the laws of the state of Maine, hereby appoint you as treasurer within the Town of Lebanon, such appointment to be effective June 30th, 2026, given under our hand this day, this 17th day of June 2025. And then to Christine Torno, the County of York and the State of Maine, the Selectmen of the Town of Lebanon, in accordance with the provisions of the laws of the State of Maine, hereby appoint you as Town Clerk within and for the Town of Lebanon. Such appointment to be effective until June 30th, 2026, given under our hands this 17th day of June 2025. And then to Christine Torno in the County of York and the State of Maine, the Selectmen of the Town of Lebanon, in accordance with the provisions of the laws of the State of Maine, hereby appoint you as tax collector within and for the Town of Lebanon. Such appointment to be effective until June 30th, given under our hands this 17th day of June 2025. This is just for the BYOB permit?
I know it's attached to, but they're doing it that way now, so I just need you guys to say it's okay, and then I'll have to sign it, cause it's all electronic now. But the rest of the information is behind it for the whole event.
Okay, so this is for mass gathering, is that what it would be?
Yeah, they're having
Okay, application of mass gathering permit, Randy Oakley of the Proving Grounds at 270 Carl Broggie Highway. Thursday, 12 p.m. to Sunday at 6 p.m. Description of events, straight line drags, obstacle course, deep mud, live entertainment. Certificate of insurance is attached, liability, and it's a BYOB event. Vermonster 4x4 LLC, Midsummer Mud Bash. So, what happens after we sign this?
Then I sign the electronic copy for them.
And then they're all set?
Yep, they're all set because code and fire went out there already.
Okay.
So do we sign this page and the front page, or just the front?
The
Usually
front
it's two.
page and then where those stickers are. That's only because the state has changed the way they do it.
So then what is this back one?
That's the approval.
That's the approval.
I didn't know how else to do it, whereas
Yeah,
on my computers.
I just thought we had to have them in and everything, but that's stopped,
They
right?
stopped that, doing that, yeah. They said that it wasn't in the ordinance that they had to come
Did
in.
you sign 2 spots with the red stickers?
Should be
Yeah,
3.
oh, 3? No,
Top, above?
I think, is this for you sign?
Oh, it looks like,
I thought I
oh,
was supposed to
that's
sign now.
approved, yeah, granted, you just check granted, I think.
Okay.
I think that was leftover stickers from the other 2 signing.
Okay,
Would you ask them to public hearings?
yeah.
We usually do the first couple of times, and then only if we have complaints.
Okay.
I don't know, have we had any,
No, no.
I know there used to be noise complaints, but I haven't heard any for a couple of years now, so.
It was.
Oh, there was one, yes, there was. Someone, there were people defecating in someone's yard. Yes, that's right too.
We haven't had anybody show up at the public hearings either that we've had in the past.
We've had some big ones though before, remember? Were you here then?
No.
And then, but I think it was that one company that tapped me with it.
Yes.
I'm holding this on the 10th. What's the date of the complaint? Do you know?
It was the last event that they had. It came
It
through.
came to me and then I reached out, I think to the.
Joe
Joe
went to
asked.
look at it,
Yeah, Joe.
on the complaint, on the email,
Yes,
and I
because
never
it was
got a
help.
response back.
And then I think that Randy was going to talk to the homeowners to see what he could do to help that situation. Like a fence or something, I don't know what happened, I don't know what the outcome was. But they had pictures,
Great.
yeah.
Can I have a copy?
Yeah.
There's a OCP complaint too,
You what?
on that, on the marijuana side.
What's OCP?
It's an officer of the
Cannabis
cannabis.
policy.
Formerly OMP, Office of Marijuana Policy.
Yeah, they changed it over to cannabis.
But I don't know if that affects us.
I don't know, they've done a good job, I think they have their insurance, everything in line, I'm okay with it.
You might wanna hold up the hearing for the next one.
Okay.
Just
Yep,
cover yourself.
yeah, no, better safe than sorry, I agree.
It's too late now
Yeah.
for this one.
Yeah, so we can do next time, we'll tell them public hearing.
Can we get copies of the outcomes of those other complaints that were
Well,
put there?
I'm gonna call.
You want the pictures too?
I don't need the pictures.
The OCP complaint is against one of our facilities in town.
Oh, yeah, it's not, had nothing to do with this.
No, I just about for this, that's all.
I'll reach out to.
Do you want something?
You only need 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oops, sorry.
So for paperwork, I guess we have an executive session, I don't know what that's about.
It's for personnel
Do
and.
you know, Paul?
Yes, it is.
Did
Okay.
Did you want me to stay for the very beginning part, or what were we talking about?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
he's gonna,
Do you want me to stay? There was one
I
part
don't,
that
I don't
was
know what
gonna-
it's about, that's up to Paul.
I would say, yeah,
Okay,
Wait,
yeah,
can I ask one quick question? How many things do we have in legal right now?
that's where we're gonna be going.
Because quite a few people had asked when I was campaigning. Can you say like a rough number of how many things we have in legal?
Oh, you'll have a better idea. Huh?
You'll have a better idea after
Okay.
this executive session.
so, I'm gonna make a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters pursuant to 1 MRSA 405(6)A.
Second.
All in favor?
Are we gonna reconvene afterwards, or?
No, not on this
Alright.
one.
No?
There won't be no decision.
Hi, Robert.
on this one.
Aye.
Bye, Robert, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Robert.
No problem. Just so that we know on the camera.
So, yeah, so we'll be done, we'll just reconvene to adjourn, is all we'll do. Motion to adjourn. All right, so we're live again. Motion to exit executive session?
You need the speaker.
No, it's picking us up, just talk a little louder.
Oh,
I make a motion to adjourn executive session.
Second. All
all
in favor?
better.
All right, anything else before I adjourn the meeting? No?
Did you wanna talk about policy?
No need. Right, it didn't change,
What
is
policy?
that what we said?
The other one, I thought you were talking about
Oh, I
last one,
mean,
just
we're gonna do the social media policy next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, if you get the other current one and
Yeah.
then we can go over what everyone thinks. Okay. So that's good for, is that good for everyone?
Yeehaw.
Yeah. All right, motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Night.
Thank
Good
you.
meeting, everybody.
Yes.
Looking forward to working with all you guys.